Next up, on-farm research has been ongoing with Nebraska Extension for a number of years. Results show that producers implementing on-farm research practices enjoy positive results, including increased yields. Market Journal's Bill Dodd spoke with research participant Ken Herz to learn more about an ongoing study that examines the impacts and economics of grazing cover crops in non-irrigated rotations.
In south-central Nebraska, much of the agricultural ground is dry land and split about 50-50 in terms of cropland and rangeland. In non-irrigated systems, implementing cover crops into your rotations can diminish crop yields during times of limited precipitation. However, it seems using cover crops for forage could offset costs while retaining soil benefits.
Was interested in looking at some type of a system that we could help with the rangeland grazing late season. Was wondering if we can incorporate some type of a cover crop into our farming operation that would take some of the pressure off the grazing of the pastures late season. So that's really why I was looking at it. I was really interested in a systems approach that examined integrating the livestock into a dry land cropping rotation by adding and grazing cover crops. In the end, I think we wanted to understand the system profitability as well as effects on soil health.
Research over the past few years has been conducted in separate counties, one location in Nuckolls County and the other in Webster County. With varying conditions and variables for each location, there were, of course, varying results when it came to yields.
There was a little bit of difference between the Nuckolls County and the Webster County, and there's a couple things that were a little bit different. In the Nuckolls County plot, we had to haul water to the cattle, and that made an additional expense that in the Webster County, there was a system in place, and that greatly reduced the cost of watering the cattle. Another thing was that in the Webster County, we used a summer annual cover crop mix. In the Nuckolls County, we used a cool season cover crop mix. We had a lot more biomass produced in Webster County with a summer annual. We think that is probably had a big effect on it. And the other thing is finally, in the Nuckolls County, we had 1 year where we had a really dry summer where we had soybeans out there. And in that particular case, where we had the grazed cover crop had a diminished yield compared to the traditional 3-crop rotation or just a cover crop without grazing.
Now, in the 5th year of this particular study, Ken tells me the data that is coming out of the research is promising in terms of being able to give producers in that region a better understanding of the benefits and drawbacks of grazing cover crops. Moreover, following this research could bear fruit for producers in terms of what approaches have already been implemented throughout the study.
It gives us more confidence to make recommendations the farther we get into this and the more data we get in this thing. But I think you can, what we're looking at is looking at a summer annual cover crop and focusing on that. It's also apparent that the benefit you get from cover crop, if you want to look at it from the economic standpoint, is you have to graze it. Because if you have a cover crop that is ungrazed, you basically have just the cost of getting the cover crop established without getting any returns from it. And we really think that there's a benefit to have grazing the cover crop of livestock. We also think there's a benefit to improving soil health grazing livestock, because what we have seen in the soil health is that the cover crop that is grazed has more biosolial activity to it. And we think that is really important too.
While this research has already yielded useful data for producers, Ken says there's still work to be done. While other rotation options may be looked at in the coming years, there's still a lot to learn about the soil benefits as well.
I think one of the things that we're going to try and do is fine-tune what we're looking at. Again, as I said, I think we're going to be looking at summer annual cover crop. See if that makes any difference from here on out. And the other thing is that we really want to get a handle on the microbial biomass and fungi biomass that we're having, and trying to put a value on that. And that is one of the things that's really hard to do. Right now, with the study, we are looking at the economics of it, and we aren't focusing too much on what is actually happening in the soils, other than trying to do some measurements to see the activity in the soil.
Even though a plethora of data has already been produced from this study, there's still much to learn, and we'll continue to follow any updates that come. Reporting for Market Journal, I'm Bill Dodd.